to say that you can tell me how great you want to be, but when we have a conversation with your action, we find out how bad you really want it.
Because there's no way to achieve it unless you have obstacles, unless you have struggle. Struggle is a biological necessity to greatness.
Welcome back to another episode of The Burn. I am Ben Newman, and you know how we do this every single week. We're going to bring you a story of an athlete, an entertainer, a celebrity, somebody from the business world who's recognized that why and purpose is not enough. There's this underlying burn that ignites your why and purpose and causes you to show up on the days you don't feel like it, and especially after you win. I've told you in the past, we have had special guests that highlight special mindsets. And I don't know if we've had one that really highlights the power of vision the way that Bo Eason is going to have the ability to highlight the power of vision for you. Not just through his words and the things he says. And he does a lot of speaking. He does a lot of consulting. He's even written a play and gone on Broadway. His story is extraordinary. All of this from having a vision as a 9-year-old boy, a 20-year vision as a 9-year-old boy to one day play in the NFL, which ended up happening when he got drafted in the second round to the Houston Oilers. So when we talk about vision, this is not talk. This is not about it'd be great or I'm just going to motivate you. I think you will be fueled to ignite your burn on a deeper level by understanding when you have a deep vision and when you take action. It's incredible what you can accomplish. Bo Eason, welcome to The Burn.
Ben, thank you so much for having me. What an introduction. That's so nice.
Well, it is deep rooted because I loved your book. So I'm going to get it out of the way first because I know a lot of times we'll mention books, but everybody, you need to stop what you're doing when you're done listening or watching this interview, and you need to go straight to Amazon.com and you need to buy. There's no plan B for your A game. Period. End of story. You need to buy the book. It's an extraordinary book. I'm even going to tease. It was fun to be able to catch up with you and Dawn before we hit record. And I had to tease Dawn. She's like, thanks for reading the book. I'm like, Dawn, I didn't read the book. I loved the book. So there is no plan B for your A game. And we are going to talk about the book, but I just want to make sure, and we're going to make it easy for everybody to hit the link in the call notes, but you better go and buy the book. Before we get to the book though, Bo, this is really an honor for me, having read and loved the book so much, and just so many amazing stories in the book. And I think the thing that probably captures most people where I'd love to start is, how does a 9-year-old boy cast a 20-year vision?
Yeah, that's actually a crazy story because of the people involved. So in 1969, my dad was watching a football game. And my dad's a cowboy, right? He's a rancher. He doesn't talk very much. He's dirty all the time. And he's glued to the TV, and I've never seen him like this before. And he's yelling at the TV, and he says to me and my brother, who are kids, my brother's 10, I'm 9, and he says, this guy, look at this kid run. This kid is beautiful. Now, when you hear your dad speak, at that age, it means something, right? Especially a cowboy that doesn't talk very much. So when he says to watch somebody and that this kid is beautiful and watch him run, you pay attention. So I'm like, well, I've never heard my dad say anybody was beautiful, let alone a guy running on TV in a football game. So we get in front of the TV and we're watching, and guess who that was? That was O.J. Simpson. That was O.J. Simpson, man. That when I tell that to people nowadays, they go, "Whoa, really? Oh, But this was when he was I think he was like a rookie. He may have even been at USC at the time. But my dad was right. He had never seen a guy run quite like that before. And me and my brother certainly had never seen anybody do that. So I knew that it was important to my dad that movement is emotional when somebody does it really effortlessly and smoothly and really with a tremendous speed. And that's what O.J. Simpson represented. And when he said it, I go, okay, I knew. And here's the second thing that entered my mind, Ben, was that's important to my dad. I can do that, but I don't want to be that kid. I don't want to be O.J. Simpson. I want to stop him. That isn't that weird? I'm 9 years old and I didn't think like, oh, I want to be him. I thought, I want to stop runners like that. I want to bring them down. And psychologically, you can go a lot of places with that, right? A therapist can make a living on that one moment, but that's how I took it. And so I drew up a plan with crayon. I still have the plan. In 1969, I drew up the plan of me. It's a picture of me, like a, kid's drawing of me tackling, stopping O.J. Simpson, a beautiful runner, right? So as this plan grew and went on over the years, I realized that position that could stop O.J. Simpson was the position of safety. So that's when I said, okay, safety. I'm going to be the best safety in the whole world. And I'll stop anybody who runs beautifully. I'll stop them all. In fact, I'll run beautifully and I'll have to be to catch them and I'll stop them. Well, as this dream and this plan started to take shape over the years, I was getting really kind of no evidence, Ben, like no proof that I was even on the right path. I just stayed on the path, but it didn't, I wasn't big, I wasn't fast. No one really thought I was special as an athlete. It just didn't turn out that way. Although I held the dream in place of being the best safety. So even though I wasn't getting the feedback that I was taking the right steps, that I was actually becoming this best safety, I just stayed true to the plan. I stayed loyal to that little piece of paper rather than staying loyal to the feedback of the public. And a lot of that public was family, friends, coaches, colleges for sure. Like not one college recruited me, not one college recruited my brother. And then I had my best friend, Kenny O'Brien. We all thought we were pretty good football players, but no one wanted us. No one recruited us, not even junior colleges, nobody, no letters, nothing. But we thought we were pretty good and we won in high school. And then we went to small colleges. My brother went to a junior college. I went to UC Davis, which was Division II, no scholarships. Kenny O'Brien was my roommate. He went there with us. And then cut to 4 years later, those two guys, Kenny O'Brien and my brother, were first round picks in the NFL, unrecruited. First round picks with 6 quarterbacks went in the 1983 draft, went in the first round. John Elway, Dan Marino, Todd Blackledge, my brother, my roommate, Kenny O'Brien. Did I skip anybody? Can't remember. Maybe Dan Marino, Elway. Yeah, I got them all. 6 of them went in the first round. Then I'm a year younger than those guys, and I went in the second round the next year, but I was the top safety, taken. So even though all these years had passed and all this training had passed, most of the evidence I was getting right up until the end, Ben, of that dream coming true was, it wasn't good enough. Isn't that weird? Like, I think most people, when they may have a dream or they have a plan, they put it together. If they're not getting enough evidence that plan, that you're you're taking the right course, you quit because you're just not getting you're not getting the feedback.
Oftentimes, people lack what I call the aggressive patience, right? It takes long obedience in the same direction with aggressive patience. And most people don't have a willingness to stay in the fight, to silence the naysayers, to continue to do the work. And that's one of the reasons why I loved your story is, being an undersized guy, going to UC Davis, a school that didn't even offer scholarships, yet you continued to believe no matter what anybody said. You continued to believe, you continued to put action behind your vision. Tell us about the picture that you ended up putting in your locker, because you had the crayon drawing, but then there was a picture that you actually put in your locker, which tells an absolutely extraordinary story.
Yeah, are you talking about the Walter Payton picture?
Yes.
Yes. So everybody loved Walter Payton. This was, now we're into the 70s and
Sweetness,
Walter
that was my
Payton.
favorite.
Really? Oh,
Oh, the 1985 Bears sweetness. I mean, the St. Louis Cardinals were already gone. So you're not, we didn't have a football team in St. Louis. I used to root for the Chicago Bears. So I love this story.
oh yeah. 85 Bears, greatest defense ever assembled, had the fridge and had Walter Payton carrying the ball. And they were so good that on that day, it wasn't my family's best day because my brother had to play against them in the Super Bowl. My brother was the quarterback for the Patriots against the Bears, which they got beat. And so it wasn't a great day for us, but man, what a team. Anyway, you guys, I put Walter Payton. I always put pictures up in Sports Illustrated. I would cut them out. I would put pictures up on my wall, and I put this one up in my locker. And you open your locker, in high school, like, I don't know, 8, 10 times a day, because in between classes and getting dressed for practice. And it's this specific picture of Walter Payton, and he's running right at the camera. So it looks like the lens must have been right there, and he's running like right toward the camera with the ball. And there's grass coming up behind him that's kicking up from his cleats. It's like one of those pictures that you just love, and I just loved Walter Payton. So I would look at this picture 8, 10 times a day as I opened my locker for 4 years straight in high school. So 4 years straight. Then 1985 was the year they won the Super Bowl. We're playing the Chicago Bears. Now the guy I've been looking at for all these years in my locker, and loving him like an idol, now I'm playing against him. And now I'm playing safety. They give him the ball, and I'm like, oh man, this is it. They just gave Walter Payton, they tossed it to him. He was deep in the eye. They tossed it to him. He's running, and he's running right toward my left, his right. And I'm going, I am going to tackle Walter Payton. And when these moments happen in your life, you guys, it's not fast, it's slow. Like everything turned to slow motion. And now I'm like running in slow motion in real life in the Astrodome playing the Chicago Bears. And Walter Payton is running at me, slow motion, everything just like a dream, like a slow motion dream. And he's running right at me. And I swear to you, the visual that I have locked in my brain is the one that was in my locker. The same picture that I saw him running at the camera like this, he is like that, and I'm running to tackle him. And I'm like, shit, this is crazy. I'm about to tackle Walter. This is what I'm thinking inside. I'm about to tackle Walter Payton. I hope my mom and dad are watching. That's what I'm thinking. And sure enough, I get to him, tackle him, right? Now I'm on top of my hero. I'm laying on top of Walter Payton, right? And I didn't know what to do. I was a rookie, right? And when you tackle your idol, right, you don't want to get off, right? You just want to lay there for a minute, just kind of enjoy it, right? But when you're a veteran, when you're the greatest running back, one of the greatest running backs to ever live, you don't want some rookie laying on top of you while your back is on turf, right? So just like you would expect, because Walter Payton, I just, he had that soft voice. He was a nice guy, man of the year. I started to get off of him because he dropped a couple of F-bombs on me and said, get the F off of me, rookie. And I start to get up, and I wasn't getting up quick enough. So he gave me a little heel, like a heel up into my body, like a boom. with his foot. And I was like, oh man, I guess the idolization is over. I guess this is this is the real thing. But often, you guys, it's so funny. I don't know if you guys had this experience in your life, but I, every time I have a visual that I kind of look at day after day, or year after year, those visuals I then later see in my life. And it feels like a deja vu moment, like, man, and it's always slow motion. It's never fast. It's always like, wow, I've been here before. And that's when I knew that the things that have all come into existence in my life, I had seen them for years ahead of that.
Mm.
And then they come true. And I'm like, wow, it's so weird because not only did they come true, but it feels like I've already been here, like this already happened.
See, this is so powerful for me, Bo, because obviously reading it, I loved hearing it. I was a big Walter Payton fan. I can enjoy the reading of the story. But to me, this is almost like the ultimate story of the burn for many individuals who say, well, I really don't know what my underlying burn is, right? Ben, you lose your mom, and you watch your mom's fight, and you want to live and be the best you can be because you have days your mom never got. That's deep. I didn't have that happen to me, or I didn't have to sacrifice, or I'm not. People, they struggle. To me, I love it's this ultimate burn of vision to where you almost said, I have to keep going, no matter the naysayers, no matter the unpredictable world that we live in, no matter if somebody tells me this, no matter if I have a scholarship or not. And not only did you go on to play in the NFL, I mean, you went on to be an NFL All-Pro. And so you did it at the highest possible level. And I think the story of vision and burn and looking at that picture, which generates this fuel, caused you to make that your reality, which people are like, well, how is that possible? It's possible when you believe it and you put the action. And which is why I love the book so much, which I really want you to talk about. When you truly believe, you don't just say there's only a plan A. There is no plan B. So back to me selling the book again, right? There is no plan B for your A game. So the plan B was non-existent for you. You said, no, I will play in the NFL, period, end of story. That's it. And I think so many people, and I believe it's probably the same for you, as much consulting and planning and things that you're doing with organizations in the business world now. Oh, it drives me crazy when somebody says, okay, we have a big, hairy, audacious goal. We have a stretch goal. I'm like, what a bunch of bullshit that is. I said, what do you mean you have a stretch goal? I said, how about you just go after the really big goal? And if you don't hit it, we'll deal with it then. And that's why I loved your book so much, because it's almost like people say, well, that's really exciting. I'll get excited to talk about this big goal, but I really only believe in the smaller one. And so that's why I loved your book. So where did it come from for you, where you're like, don't even talk to me about a B game. It doesn't exist. Go for the A game.
Yeah. As I became a dad and got, as I was getting married and having kids and then, getting more mature, I keep hearing people say, well, you have to make, you have to make goals that are achievable. And I'm like, well, that's not even a goal, right? I mean, if it's achievable, just do it. What are you talking about? That's not a goal. I think that the world, Ben, has I think we as human beings have a lot of false loyalties. Like we're loyal to the wrong things. I was always taught to stay loyal to my dreams and only my dreams. Isn't that weird? Like, because you have these loyalties that you're supposed to be loyal to, but they might be false. What if you're just loyal to this dream, which is actually a vision? And then you don't wait for the vision to happen before you become that vision. You become that vision on day one. So when I'm 9 years old and I'm drawing up the plan, I'm not waiting until 1984 to get drafted to be the best safety in the world. I'm not waiting for ESPN to say that. There wasn't even an ESPN. I was that on day one. So I drew it up. I said, that's me. That's O.J. Simpson. I'm the best. And I started behaving as if I was that best safety, and I was scrawny and crappy and untalented. But I was talented at one thing, at being loyal to what I wanted. And so for all those years leading up to 1984, between 69 and 1984, the one thing I had, because you guys, at every turn, people are saying no. I had, between those times, you guys, I had 3, 4 knee surgeries. I mean, ACL surgeries where I'm a kid and doctors are going, dude, you can't play. This is 1984. This is 1977 when I had my first surgery. You're done. We got to put screws in there. We can't. In those days, they just opened you up. They put you in a cast for 8 weeks. They said, you're done. It's not like today. And I was so unloyal to what the doctors said to me. When someone's in a white lab coat telling you that your dream is over, usually you succumb to that white lab coat and their education. And I said, I hear you. I've got this plan. See, and it doesn't matter. The surgeries really don't matter. And it doesn't matter that there's no schools interested. And it doesn't matter. None of these things matter. What matters is the dream. And if I stay loyal to this, eventually it will come true. And it did. And then I just repeated the same thing over and over in my life. And I've done it like 4 or 5 times where I just said, I want to be the best in the world at this thing called playwriting. And I'm like, everyone's going, you don't even know how to write. You're crazy. You've never written anything. You can't even spell. How are you going to be the best playwright in the world? And I go, well, who is the best playwright in the world? And they go, Shakespeare. And I'm like, well, where's he? I'll talk to him. They go, he's dead 500 years. 500 years ago, he died. So you can't talk to him. And I go, what did he do? Show me what he did. Show me what he did. Show me where he did it. I'll do it. And then on day one, I get to become or behave like the best playwright in the world behaves. I didn't know what that was, Ben. I had to learn how does a playwright behave?
So so you write the play, because I want to make sure we capture this. You write the play, The Little Runt. It goes to Broadway. The New York Times ends up saying it's one of the greatest plays over the last decade. So I want to take you to a place regarding obstacles, because I think this is really important, because I know we're going to meet some of our listeners right now where they're going to go, okay, this is like one of those rarest of the rare stories, Ben. Like, the guy believes at 9 years old he's going to play in the NFL. He does. Then the guy's going to go become a playwright after becoming the best safety, and the New York Times says he's the best. Like, Ben, I get it, but you don't understand the obstacles I face.
Yes.
Hey, Ben, Bo, like, I get it, but this is different. You're different, Bo. How do you coach? How do you consult when you're in the business world? When the person goes, yeah, Bo, great story, but, which we both know, being communicators and paying attention to the details, but negates what you said before. And it's almost like, but your story doesn't apply to me, Bo. How do you bring people back? What's the tool that you use? How do you work with them to say, don't give power to your obstacles? Because what you said is you're basically, I'm not giving any loyalty to what these doctors say. My loyalty will be to my plan. And so what do you say to those people who say, no, you don't understand my obstacles?
Yeah. I get it, you guys. I do. I face those every day too. I have obstacles, I have struggles, right? But listen, there's a great quote, and I can't remember who said it, but it always struck me. The world was not created by great men. The world was not created by great men or great women. The world was created by a demanding situation. And then that great man or that great woman rose to the occasion.
Wow.
That's it. The minute you write, I want to be the best safety in the world. I want to be the best playwright in the world. I want to be the best husband in the world. I want to be the best father. I want to be the best motivational speaker in the world. The minute you say that, what have you just invited in? You created that declaration. You're the one who wrote it up. So you're the one who just created all the obstacles that are now going to come at you. Because there's no way to achieve it unless you have obstacles, unless you have struggle. Struggle is a biological necessity to greatness. You can't have one without the other. You just can't. So you're the one who came up with your dream, your vision. It came from you. Therefore, you created the obstacles that are now on their way to you. I could have just sat there at 9 and gone, I'm just not as good as O.J. Simpson. I'll never be as good as him. My dad loves him. That hurts my feelings. I'll never be anything. And then you guys, I certainly wouldn't be on this podcast. Certainly wouldn't have played in the NFL or wrote a play for Broadway or screenplays or whatever. I wouldn't have done anything if I didn't first say, I want to be the best at this thing and invite all this struggle into Bo's life. I could have had no struggle in my life and I would have been worthless to the world. You want to make yourself valuable to the world? You want to step to the top of the gold medal box? Here it is. Put your ass in a demanding situation by way of making a declaration, making a promise to people that you're going to achieve this thing, because automatically that puts you in a demanding situation. Well, that's the only way you have any value. The minute you put yourself in that situation, now we get to see what you're made of. And there's a lot of struggle that comes with that. There's knee surgeries that come with that. You get dumped. All your dreams, like, you're faced with. But if you keep going, you learn that, wow, I can actually overcome all these obstacles because they're made up. I'm the one who made them up because I'm the one who made up the dream. I made up the vision. So they're all self-made. Therefore, you can overcome them. I'd like to say this one thing, and it's this word attractive, and that's like natural law. So there's laws of attraction. So for you to be valuable to the world, there's got to be attraction coming at you. Now, I'm not saying, oh, I'm handsome, you're not. Oh, she's pretty, you're not. I'm not talking about that kind of attraction. I'm talking about somebody who has courage. That since time, we are always, and this is really the only thing that's ever been rewarded over time. The history of our world is courage. That's always rewarded. So if you have the courage to declare what your vision is and then go despite all the obstacles, then you have made yourself one of the most attractive people on the planet. Meaning people must pay attention to attraction. There's a reason they look at you. Because you're going somewhere. I always think in the quarterback position, if you guys look at that position in the world, it is so unique because the team, the coaches, the city, the university, the community is all attracted to where this quarterback is taking them.
So powerful.
That's what they want to win. The city wants to win, the university wants to win, the team wants to win. And there's usually one person who doesn't really want this job. They call that the quarterback. Doesn't necessarily want all that responsibility, but takes it on and says, you know what, guys, girls, we're going to win. Come hell or high water, we're getting this ball in the end zone. I don't care who does it. I don't care who calls it. Doesn't matter to me. We're going to do it. And that's attractive. So if I'm looking at my kids, if I'm looking at your kids, Ben, if I'm looking at my clients, your clients, I say, what makes you most valuable to the world? What makes you most valuable to the world in our current culture? And that is it. This law of attraction, meaning I want you headed somewhere with struggle up against you so that we get to see a hero on this journey. Well, we're going to follow that hero. because it's attractive for someone to be courageous in this day and age where everybody just wants to opt out and quit.
So true. Bo, I can't thank you enough for taking us to where you just took us to, which is really what the book does, which I'm going to encourage everybody again and then make it as easy as possible to stay connected with Bo through his website, to stay connected with Bo through his social media, to stay connected by reading. There's no plan B for your A game. But what I want to thank you for most is providing the action through your example as a result of the story and vision that you once believed. I think we live in a world where there's too many people who are telling themselves a story. And I always love to say that you can tell me how great you want to be, but when we have a conversation with your action, we find out how bad you really want it. And I think that's the beauty of your ability to be such an incredible storyteller, but the storytellers are backed with action to prove that when you believe in that power of attraction, when you put the action behind it, when it's fueled by that burn, that vision, that belief, really anything does become possible. And it's not some trite statement. It's something that can happen as long as you stay in the fight. So I want to encourage you to do exactly what Bo said, which is to write that story, write that vision, but then put yourself in the demanding situation that it's going to take to cause you to take the action to allow that story, that vision to come true. Bo Eason, I hope I captured that correctly, because you absolutely nailed it. This was incredible to finally have you live on The Burn, and I appreciate you, my friend, and it was incredible to have you.
Ben, thank you so much. I'm so looking forward to being with you, and I've been following you for so long, and just watching you speak and communicate, and how you're able to sum things up in a very much simpler way than me. I tend to go like this, and you just go boom, and you walk it in. It's really good. Anyway, so thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Can't wait to work further together as we go along our careers.
I look forward to it as well, Bo. And I do want to give a quick shout out to our dear friend, Cody Foster at Advisors Excel AE. What an extraordinary man who originally put us together. And so grateful to him for the connection, and grateful to each and every single one of you who choose to go on this journey now in year 7 of The Burn, 7 years of Burn episodes. And we're still able to find the extraordinary stories like Bo Eason to help fuel you to believe more in you and to put the action behind it. So thank you for joining us for The Burn. Please share this episode. Please like this episode. And for the 4th time, I'm going to be mad at you. Go buy the book. There is no plan B for your A game. Until next week, this has been The Burn.